Tenemos algunas mesas ahorita, contribuyeron como 15 organizaciones hoy, entonces con mucho gusto, por favor, pasen por ahí a agarrar más información. All right.
The right to organize and unions for all. Let's hear it from our labor union. The rich profit off of our labor. It's time that we take what's ours, a living wage, and demand real power in the workplace. Derecho a organizarse y sindicalizarse. Los ricos se hacen millonarios con nuestro trabajo. Reclamamos lo que es nuestro. Salario digno, poder real para los trabajadores. Universal health care. Who here hasn't gone to the doctor in a while because it's too damn expensive? Who here has to choose between rent, groceries, and your prescription medicines? Our health is worsened due to exploitative working conditions, environmental racism and classism, climate change, attacks on reproductive justice, displacement, war, and genocide. Not only is healthcare a human right, but we also want a world that puts our mental and physical well-being over profit. Derecho y atención a la salud. Nuestra salud se ve agravada por la explotación de la clase obrera. Adicionalmente, es el racismo y el clasismo, el cambio climático, los ataques a la justicia reproductiva, el desplazamiento forzado, la guerra y el genocidio que daña nuestra salud. La atención médica no solo es un derecho humano, sino que también queremos un mundo que pone nuestro bienestar físico y mental por encima de las ganancias. And last but not least, one that is very important to me as a tenant organizer, social housing for all. Raise your hand if the rent is too damn high. Housing is a basic human right, not a business. We should have control over the roof above our heads, not the landlords, not the gentrifiers, and most definitely not Wall Street. Every person deserves access to secure, healthy, and quality living conditions. With the working class in charge, we can reclaim a sense of community, interreliance, and belonging, rather than loneliness and separation. Vivienda social para todos. La vivienda es un derecho humano básico, no una mercancía. No debemos normalizar que una gran cantidad de personas vivan en estudios o departamentos de una o dos habitaciones. Es hora de poner fin a la gentrificación. Thank you for being here for that long list. We've got a lot to demand, and so we've got a lot to fight for, am I right? And that means we gotta keep on organizing. We gotta keep on talking to our neighbor. We gotta keep on talking to our coworkers, right? And next year when every single person here brings 2 people with them, brings 5 people with them, brings 10 people with them, imagine how many streets we can take over with Mayday. I'll pass it back to Abby. Que se escuche para I.C.E. las demandas. Gracias.
So without further ado, we'd like to present the first speaker. This is a compañera of mine as well in the comunidad. She's representing on behalf of Association of Raza Educators, and she will be speaking on education and not deportation. Si me pueden teacher and this year's coordinator of the Association of Raza Educators here in San Diego, our chapter in San Diego. As maestros, we are honored to be present here today at this historic May Day event alongside all of you and in solidarity with workers everywhere struggling for dignidad and justicia. As teachers who do not shy away from la verdad, let us be clear. They are coming for our children, our futuro. For 500 years plus, this colonial war has waged uninterrupted violence on our gente, with their targets placed squarely on our most precious resource, our children. These attacks are nothing new, but the immediate question we ask now is, what will teachers do? Will you languish in the fear that will not protect you, or join us in defensa of the pueblo in a fight for lives that cannot be waged alone? That is the question we ask. What will you do, maestros? We gotta fight back. What do we do? Fight back. What do we do? Fight back. What do we do? Fight back. La Asociación de Educadores de la Raza se formó en 1994 para defender la comunidad de los ataques terroristas de la administración de Bill Clinton y Pete Wilson, que impusieron actos violentos de brutalidad y deshumanización, como la Proposición 187 y la Operación Gatekeeper contra nuestro pueblo. What do we say? Shame! What do we say? Shame! Como educadores, sin miedo, nos levantamos en defensa de nuestra gente. Entonces, y seguimos en defensa ahora, haciendo un llamado a los educadores justos de todas partes para que se unan a nosotros. ¡Únete, pueblo! ¡Únete, pueblo! ¡Únete, pueblo! ¡Únete, pueblo! ¡Únete, pueblo! ¡Únete, pueblo! El fascismo está sobre nosotros y no abandonaremos a nuestros hijos y familias para luchar solos. Lo que decimos, education, not deportation. Education, not deportation. One more time, education, not deportation. To our teachers and gente everywhere, we cannot hesitate. This is not the time. Our power lies with an organized community such as this one. Maestros unidos. Maestros unidos. In defense of our pueblo, we ride on community patrols in the early morning hours to ensure our children and familias arrive safely to work and school. We chase migrants away from our libraries. That's right. Who heard? Right here at Logan Heights Library. We chase them away. We said, Raza sí. We said, Raza sí. One more time. Raza sí. We defy rulings that try to erase the teachings of our historia, nuestra historia y cultura, and we uphold our classrooms and campuses as sacred spaces. In the face of hate and ignorancia, we uphold access to liberatory education and ethnic studies for all students. We call out and we denounce, we call out the cowardly district leaders and school board members and demand that they step out from the shadows of fear and protect our estudiantes and familias at all costs. Somos los maestros, los trabajadores de la educación que no permaneceremos Association of Raza Educators, we say enough with the exploitation of our people. Enough! Enough! Enough with the oppression of the working class. Enough! Enough with the family separation. Enough! Basta con el terror en nuestras comunidades. Basta! Basta con la presión contra la gente y la clase obradora. Basta! Y le decimos a ICE, fuera. What do we say? Fuera. 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 And one more time, los maestros luchando también están enseñando. We are fighting along with the community. We are also teaching our children to resist, to empower themselves, to stand up and protect their community, to protect their history, to protect their cultura, and to protect all of us. Ellos son nuestro futuro y son la esperanza nuestra. Maestros luchando sin miedo. Maestros luchando sin miedo. Maestros luchando sin miedo. Muchas gracias. Otro aplauso, por favor. Next up, we have International Commission update on Anastasio Hernández. Maria Puga will be presenting a speech on behalf of that. Disculpe. Okay. Un aplauso.
Muy buenas tardes a todos. ¿Cómo está la gente organizada, trabajadora? Mi nombre es María Puga. Muchos de ustedes sé que me conocen. Soy esposa de Anastasio Hernández, que fue brutalmente asesinado el 28 de mayo de 2010 por más de 12 agentes de la patrulla fronteriza. A lo largo de estos 15 años he luchado yo, acompañado de muchos de ustedes, diferentes organizaciones, abogados que hemos estado luchando por encontrar justicia. En el 2015 a mí me llega un papel, como yo le he dicho, donde me notifican que esos agentes, ninguno era culpable, que no iba a haber cargos para ninguno de esos agentes que asesinaron brutalmente a mi esposo. Había testigos, había videos donde claramente se miraba cómo torturaban a mi esposo. Al yo no tener ninguna justicia, acudimos a la Comisión Interamericana de Derechos Humanos, donde después de estos largos años, ayer recibimos una gran noticia de que estas personas sí son culpables. Quedó claro cómo el gobierno escondió, destruyó evidencias para que sus agentes salieran limpios de culpabilidad. Pero la razón que estoy aquí es para agradecerles a cada uno de ustedes. Tuve varias entrevistas hoy, ruedas de prensa, y les agradecí, pero quise tomarme este tiempo para venir personalmente a agradecerle a cada uno de ustedes que nos apoyaron en esta lucha, a mí y a mi familia. Estoy tan agradecida con ustedes y quiero decirles que sí se puede, sí se puede. Ahora el gobierno tiene que cumplir esta orden que le está dando la comisión. Una de ellas es reabrir el caso, pedir disculpas y cambiar sus leyes tontas que tienen. Voy a seguir pidiéndole su gran apoyo porque seguimos en esto. Ese es un primer paso a la justicia, pero queremos llegar justicia, que esas personas que asesinaron a mi esposo tengan cargos y sean encarcelados, así como cualquier otra persona que comete delitos. Muchas gracias, y claro que sí se puede, hay que seguir adelante, porque sin justicia no hay paz. ¿Qué queremos? ¡Justicia! ¿Cuándo? ¡Ahora! Sí se puede. Muchas gracias, compañeros.
Next up, we have members from Unión del Barrio speaking on Abolishing I.C.E. Ahorita que sigue es Unión del Barrio y van a hablar sobre abolir I.C.E. Disculpen, soy un poquito pocha.
El 1 de mayo es más que una fecha. Este régimen neofascista está librando una guerra total contra la clase trabajadora, socavando los derechos laborales, derribando las protecciones para los migrantes y inundando nuestras comunidades de miedo a través de amenazas de deportación y encarcelamiento, y a veces incluso en prisiones extranjeras. Todo es parte de una estrategia para quebrarnos el espíritu, para manipular a los trabajadores, para que sometan y los exploten. Pero lo vimos venir. Unión del Barrio, sabíamos que Trump 2.0 regresaría con venganza, utilizando las mismas tácticas sucias como las redadas de I.C.E. para separar y destruir a nuestras familias y para sembrar el caos y la división. Es por eso que hemos sido claros desde el principio que teníamos que movilizarnos, organizar una contraofensiva y resistir. Nuestra resistencia no es solo una opción, es una necesidad. Luchamos por la supervivencia, por la dignidad y porque nuestra búsqueda de la liberación no puede detenerse. Debe intensificarse con todo el corazón y coraje. Por eso establecimos la colección del sur de California para la autodefensa, para fortalecer el poder de la clase trabajadora contra la violencia del Estado capitalista. Con frentes activos en el centro de San Diego, en el norte del condado y Los Ángeles, nos organizamos desde la base, realizamos patrullajes comunitarios, desarrollamos infraestructura de defensa y defendemos cada barrio que sufre desplazamientos, represión o destrucción. A través de la colección hemos lanzado 3 acciones para el 1 de mayo, coordinadas en todo el sur de Baja California. La clase obrera se une para la autodefensa. Exigimos alto y claro acabar con I.C.E. Acabar con el régimen del terror contra las comunidades trabajadoras, negras, latinas y asiáticas. No más jaulas, no más redadas, no más secuestros, no más miedo. Pero para abolir el I.C.E. debemos entender lo que lo crió. Este Estado colonial que se fundó sobre el genocidio, la esclavitud y el control violento de la mano de obra, desde las primeras milicias que persiguieron y expulsaron a los pueblos indígenas, hasta las patrullas de esclavos que impulsaron la esclavitud del pueblo africano, pasando por las linchamientos anti-mexicanos y el robo de tierras del norte de México por este imperio, cada fase del desarrollo de este estado se ha basado en fuerzas militarizadas para reprimir a los trabajadores colonizados. La patrulla fronteriza surgió de este legado como una milicia diseñada para vigilar y controlar la mano de obra a través de una frontera impuesta. El I.C.E. es su descendencia moderna, una agencia abiertamente fascista que cumple la misma función, aterrorizar a nuestras comunidades e imponer los intereses del imperialismo y el capital estadounidense. El I.C.E. existe para dominar y dividir la clase trabajadora, siembra el miedo, destruye familias y garantiza una fuerza laboral explotada que puede ser descartada a voluntad. Nuestra lucha no es solo contra el I.C.E., es contra el sistema capitalista que lo crió. Nos organizamos para la autodefensa, no como un fin, sino como un paso hacia la liberación. La clase trabajadora debe unirse más allá de las fronteras y la raza para enfrentar el enemigo común, el Estado capitalista, su policía, sus prisiones y su maquinaria de guerra sin fin. Solo a través de la lucha de masas, la solidaridad y la revolución socialista podemos abolir los sistemas que nos brutalizan y que construye un mundo basado en la justicia, la dignidad y la libertad colectiva, y que viva el pueblo organizado y abajo con el I.C.E.
To UDB for not only that amazing speech, but also for organizing and really spearheading May Day for the past, 20, how many years? Anybody know? 20? A lot! So, up next, we're going to begin our march. We're going to be coming through the bridge over there towards Imperial, and that's where we're starting off. And then what you need to know after that is follow the lead of the first contingent and follow the lead of security, who I believe is going to be UDB in the red shirts. And so the people on the side, make sure that we're listening to them so that we can be united, so that nothing happens to one of our own, and so that we can make it back safely to Chicano Park to hear the rest of the amazing speakers that we have for our program. So can I get a yeah? Is and what you guys are fighting for. So try to get together with your people, and then we're going to shuffle in groups behind UDB, and they're going to take the lead on the march. So, yeah, we also need volunteers for flags. So if you're interested in helping carry one of these beautiful banners, or if you're interested in holding up a flag, please come over here and talk to us MCs.
amigo. Let's get these people moving, man. Come on. que sí.
it like I'm not in that organization. Come on up, Sandra. We also have a member of the San Diego Tenants Union who's going to speak side by side with her. And I want to make a call for any ACE members who are here, who feel confident, who feel proud right now. Feel free to come up on stage and support Sandra, support your neighbor. San Diego Tenants Union. Okay, first I'll pass it off to Sandra.
Hello! Hi, San Diego! Hola, San Diego! I'm happy to be here with you today on Happy International Workers' Day.
Estoy feliz de estar aquí con ustedes en este Día Internacional de los Trabajadores.
So yes, my name is Sandra. I am honored to be here among you all to share on the topic of housing, an issue we are all affected by more and more every day.
Mi nombre es Sandra Jean-Pierre y es un honor para mí estar aquí entre todos ustedes compartiendo sobre el tema de la vivienda, un tema que nos afecta a todos más y más cada día.
To begin, I'd like to ask you all to briefly step into your imagination and enter my typical day with me.
Para comenzar, les voy a decir a todos que utilicen su imaginación y entren a mi mundo, a mi día a día.
So I wake and I rise to whatever the day calls for. There are the sounds of new construction surrounding me. They're drilling right outside of my window.
Me despierto y me levanto para ver qué me depara el día. Están los sonidos de construcciones nuevas rodeándome, taladrando justo afuera de mi ventana.
The dust kicks up from the heavy machinery. It clouds my eyes as I step into the world.
El polvo sale de las maquinarias pesadas, nublando mi vista mientras salgo al mundo.
The face of my community, your community, is changing. The cozy mom and pop shops, they're being replaced with Starbucks, McDonald's, another Starbucks, and pretty much every big corporation chain you can think of.
El rostro de mi comunidad está cambiando. Los negocios de mamá y papá están siendo reemplazados por Starbucks, McDonald's, otros Starbucks y básicamente cualquier corporación grande que puedan imaginarse.
So the streets we know, lined with colorful lived-in homes full of families that we all know by name, are being replaced by cold, lifeless, high-rise luxury apartments.
Así que las calles llenas de casitas coloridas, llenas de vida, llenas de familias que todos conocemos por sus nombres, están siendo reemplazadas por edificios sin vida, fríos, de departamentos de lujo.
Hey, these apartments, they look sexy, right? Yeah, but it just so happens that they're not for me and they're not for you. They're reserved for those privileged to afford living in the changing neighborhood that we are used to calling home.
Pero esos departamentos de lujo suenan como algo sexy, ¿verdad? Pero no son para ustedes ni para mí. Son para aquellos privilegiados que pueden pagar el costo de vivir en un vecindario cambiado que antes llamábamos nuestro hogar.
All right, stick with me, y'all. You guys are still in your imagination. I'm walking to my bus stop now. So block for block, construction, or I like to call it destruction sites, they're becoming more and more common. And already I want to retreat away from the hustle and the bustle of the town. It's trying to price me out.
Entonces síganme acompañando, imaginando el día a día conmigo, mientras recorro cada cuadra de las construcciones, o como yo les llamo, destrucciones, que se hacen cada vez más comunes. Ya quiero retirarme de todo el ruido de un pueblo que está tratando de desplazarme.
So I'm maneuvering through the million things that I need to do for the day. I'm hoping that if I cut through enough red tape,
I might not only survive the day, but maybe soon I can count on having my basic needs met daily.
En vez de esto, manejo durante el día y trato de enfrentar los millones de cosas que tengo que hacer, esperando no solo tratar de sobrevivir este día, pero que tal vez pronto puedo contar con tener mis derechos básicos y mis necesidades básicas diarias.
So all the while, I have a lingering worry. A lot of you might be worried the same way. Where will I sleep tonight, maybe? Or will I ever have a safe place to call home permanently? To be clear, community improvements are necessary and they should be welcomed. And I'm not against construction, but who's it for?
Y cada día me pregunto y camino con una preocupación que tal vez muchos de ustedes sienten. ¿Tendré un lugar seguro para llamar mi hogar permanente? ¿Tendré un lugar seguro para poder dormir esta noche? Y para aclarar, las mejoras comunitarias son necesarias y deben ser bienvenidas. No estoy en contra de las construcciones, pero ¿para quién son?
Is it for the development corporation shareholders? The private funders of politicians' political campaigns? Or for us? Is housing just another stock for Wall Street to trade? Or is it something we all need and deserve? It's something I need and I deserve.
¿Para quién es? ¿Es para los accionistas de las corporaciones de desarrollo? ¿Es para los donantes privados de las campañas políticas de los políticos o es para nosotros? ¿La vivienda es solo otra acción de Wall Street para intercambiar o es algo que todos necesitamos y merecemos? Es algo que yo necesito y merezco.
In the back, I hope I'm reaching you guys. My name is Sandra Jean Pierre, and I've been homeless for almost 8 years. So just this weekend, me, hundreds of other ACE members, and hundreds of tenants from other tenant or unions and organizations, we traveled to the state capitol. We marched through the streets. We told our stories straight to the politicians who love to ignore us. And afterwards, we brought the fight directly inside the California Apartments Association's office to share something every one of us here knows to be true. Housing is not a business model. It's a basic human right. And we will keep on organizing. We'll keep on organizing, fighting until that right and all of our rights are respected here and everywhere.
Y para que me escuchen bien hasta el fondo, mi nombre es Sandra Jean-Pierre y he estado sin hogar durante casi 8 años. Tan solo este fin de semana yo y otros cientos de miembros de ACE y cientos de inquilinos de otras uniones de inquilinos y organizaciones viajamos al Capitolio del Estado, marchamos por las calles y contamos nuestras historias directamente a los políticos que les encanta ignorarnos. Y después de esto llevamos la lucha directamente a la Asociación de Apartamentos de California, a sus oficinas, para compartir algo que todos nosotros sabemos que es verdad. La vivienda no es un modelo de negocios, es un derecho humano básico.
Yes, there is power in numbers. We don't need to struggle alone. We don't have to just survive. Let's fight to thrive. And together we will win a world where people come before profit.
Y vamos a seguir organizándonos y luchando hasta que ese derecho y todos nuestros derechos sean respetados aquí y en todas partes. La unión hace la fuerza, no tenemos que luchar solos, no tenemos que solo sobrevivir, vamos a luchar por vivir y juntos vamos a ganar un mundo en donde la gente venga antes de las ganancias.
The people united! The people united! Thank you.
Now welcoming San Diego Tenants Union.
Thank you. Apologies for this iPad kid moment I'm about to give you. Pero I'm going to go in Spanish first and then in English. Lo que dijo Sandra muestra por qué la vivienda debe ser determinada como un derecho humano. Y mi nombre es Miguel Ángel, estoy con el Sindicato de Inquilinos. Vivo aquí en Barrio Logan. La vivienda debe ser un derecho humano y nos tenemos que preguntar ¿cuántas personas más deben vivir en la calle para asustar al resto? ¿Cuántas más familias trabajadoras deben vivir con estos, vivir en estrés para pagar la renta cada mes? Para los ricos, todos somos reemplazables. Este sistema fue creado para que los desarrolladores y dueños ganen dinero con nuestra necesidad de tener un techo. Nos quieren cansados, tensos y sin fuerza para luchar. La persona sin casa, la clase trabajadora en viviendas mal manejadas, la clase media que vive al límite, todos son parte de un sistema injusto que solo beneficia a los pocos. Como sindicato de inquilinos luchamos para defender nuestras casas y construir barrios fuertes. Reconocemos que la gentrificación es una nueva versión del colonialismo. Dicen que ayudar a los inquilinos empeora la crisis, pero todas las soluciones están hechas para beneficiar a los ricos que acumulan propiedades. Como dijo Audre Lorde, no se puede destruir la casa del amo con sus propias herramientas. Necesitamos vivienda social construida de abajo, con el control en manos de la comunidad. Queremos proteger espacios públicos y en las viviendas que estén bajo control democrático de los inquilinos. Cuando pagas renta, debes saber a dónde va tu dinero, que se usa en mantenimiento, en pagar a trabajadores con derechos, en mejoras sanas para ti y tu familia. Nos dicen que para mejorar un barrio hay que sacar a nuestra gente, pero eso es mentira. Sí hay otro camino. Marchamos hacia un futuro justo y no somos menos, simplemente tenemos que organizarnos. Y lo vamos a lograr. Ahora en inglés. What Sandra just spoke about clearly delineates why we need housing to be a human right. And it begs the question, how many more people must we sacrifice to the streets as cautionary tales to keep the rest of us in line? How many working class parents must live under uninsured and under chronic stress to pay rent? To answer that is every single one of us is expendable to the oligarchs. The system where the wealthy developer and landlord class commercialize the human need for shelter. This system works as intended, and we stand here with worn out bodies and tight muscles because they want us to be like this. A houseless person on the street, the working poor in chronically mismanaged projects, the upper middle class in denial that they are actually a paycheck away from the streets, all wrapped under a consumer society seeking belonging in material goods and services. All of these people form a part in the gamble of capitalism, a system of precarity. As a tenants union, we fight to preserve our housing and build neighborhoods of resistance. We win battles we are not meant to win, and in this fight we identify the forces of gentrification as a new form of colonialism. The policy experts claim that any relief for renters results in less housing and a worsening of this crisis. But what isn't interrogated is how every housing solution, whether liberal or conservative, is focused on what the developer and home hoarding class fancies. And while the solution to the housing crisis will include a private sector, as Audre Lorde said, the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. Top-down policy will never solve this crisis because it was never meant to. We need to champion a sector of social housing from the bottom up. Land and property taken out of the speculative market by an organized people. We need to steer a return to the commons by safeguarding existing community centers and public libraries which are under threat right now, and expanding these institutions for public good. We need to organize these properties under democratic control of tenant unions and tenant councils. We reject the managerial model of private and nonprofit housing development. When you pay your rent, you should know where it's going. You should know and see that it is going towards maintenance, that it is paying a unionized janitor, and that the building rehabilitation uses sustainable and environmentally sound practices with the health of you and yours in mind. The so-called housing providers will have you believing that the only way to build safe communities is by displacing black and brown communities and commodifying the culture for a more affluent class. That our people must be sacrificed for a barrio to be worthy of investment. We're here to say that there is another way. And as we march, we walk towards a better future. We are not outnumbered, we are simply out-organized. But that is a challenge we have and will overcome.
Let's give it up for San Diego Tenants, Union, and ACE. Thank you so much. Very powerful words. Up next, we have Party for Social and Liberation, and they will be speaking on abolishing colonial borders, and we will have Comrade Rick Guerrero up here. We also invite any PSL comrades to please join Rick. You're more than welcome to.
Well, first of all, let's give it up to ACE and the Tenants Union. Unidos, unidos, familia, ¿estamos unidos? Sí, somos familia. Me llamo Ricardo Guerrero y soy con el Partido por el Socialismo y la Liberación. Part of Socialism and Liberation. And the first thing is, I want to first start off by praising the Community Self-Defense Coalition and Unión del Barrio and all the other organizations that are sponsoring this rally. For many years, many of these organizations have fought hard for the rights and justice of oppressed communities. For example, since 1981, Unión del Barrio has held struggles to resist la migra, police violence, defend the rights of workers, prisoners, mujeres and youth, and even launched numerous independent electoral campaigns. The Party for Socialism and Liberation fights alongside Unión del Barrio in the goal of securing a better future with self-determination as people by building a revolutionary organization to accomplish a political revolution. There is no shortcut, familia. All praise to Unión del Barrio and all those organizations that have come alongside today. Shortly after the European colonizers first encountered the indigenous population of the Americas in 1492, they returned armed with the policy issued by the Pope in 1493, which claimed that any land, anywhere, not under the flag of a sovereign Christian nation could be taken by whoever discovered it. And whatever indigenous people found there, converted to Christianity. The doctrine of discovery deprived the native people of Americas of their land. They created borders that separated the people from each other. And since its inception, the United States of America has followed the principles of the doctrine of discovery. Because of that, the borders that exist today are not natural borders, not determined by the people who are indigenous to the land and created by foreigners to exploit this land and its people, to exploit you. These borders are illegitimate. These borders are illegitimate. Let us remember the land on which we stand on now is unceded by native people, stolen from the Kumeyaay and other native people. Somos un pueblo sin fronteras. We are people without borders. These borders hurt La Raza and all oppressed communities and all working people. So it is appropriate today to tie our struggle for liberation with International Workers' Day. I am a proud union member. And I'm a socialist. No longer am I afraid of saying that. I am letting my freak flag fly high. May Day is a celebration of the working class and a call for an international worker movement against the oppressors who create these borders and continue to oppress. We, as a working class, are an international class without borders. Sin fronteras. All those who produce, all from services to vehicles to agriculture, everything needed for humans to thrive, we workers produce. The international working class is more connected today than ever. So we, as working people, make the world run. So we, as workers, should run the world. While the United States and the billionaire corporations restrict la gente within their borders, finance capital knows no borders. Our oppressors freely move about the globe, making profits at the expense of your liberty, peace, and dignity. The billionaires and their corporations not only oppress us within their borders through this government, the United States government has no respect for other nations' borders or sovereignty. The United States is guilty of overtly and covertly interfering in other countries' elections and governing. Look at Cuba. Look at Venezuela. And look at Palestine. The United States is guilty of genocide in Gaza, started by the Democrats and continue to this day. By conservative estimates, over 50,000 Palestinians have been murdered. The majority are women and children. How will history judge us? How will history judge you? We are the Germans of 1938 and 1940. Only we cannot say we did not know of the genocide. So what are we going to do about it? Fight back! Every day, U.S.-made bombs are raining down on families in Gaza. U.S. supplied planes and drones target civilians in refugee camps, so-called safe zones. The PSL joins the Palestinian youth movement and others in rejecting the borders Israel has imposed on the Palestinians, rejecting Israel's doctrine of Zionism. The brutal realities of Zionism are that it is a genocidal project that kills children, bombs hospitals, occupies lands, and assassinates journalists and healthcare first responders. What are we going to do? Fight back. We need the courage. We need itself. And we need to organize to fight back. The Party for Socialism and Liberation joins the Palestinian Youth Movement and others in calling for the U.S. to end funding of Israel's genocide of Palestine, make Israel accountable to their crimes, and allow Palestinian self-determination. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Del río al mar. We in Chicano Park understand the sufferings of the Palestinians and their goals. The PSL joins the Community Self-Defense Coalition, joins Unión del Barrio, and all of you in upholding the right of self-determination of indigenous people and all oppressed communities. We demand abolish ICE! Abolish ICE! Abolish ICE! We demand demilitarize la frontera. Demilitarize la frontera. What more than that? That is not enough. We, the PSL and so many others, will organize and fight to eliminate this illegitimate border imposed on us. Join us. Gracias. Somos un pueblo sin fronteras.
Give it up again for Rick Guerrero. Thank you very much, Rick. Really appreciate that. Next up, we're going to have Anakbayan speaking on enforced migration and U.S. imperialism. We will be having Comrade Lani along with Anakbayan comrades.
Hello, militant greetings. I'm a member of Anakbayan San Diego, an organization of Filipino youth fighting for national liberation in the Philippines, for true democracy without the influence, presence, and violence of the U.S. and its military. Today, on International Workers' Day, we demand for the protection of our migrant worker community here in San Diego. We have seen since Trump's re-election an attack on the migrant and undocumented working class all across the U.S., and especially here, close to the border, and where we see one of the largest concentrations of Filipinos outside of the Philippines. We have seen so many people wrongfully detained, thrown into detention centers, and even deported to foreign countries where they are away from their families and put into terrible conditions. They have committed no crimes other than trying to create a livelihood for themselves and their families. Something I'm sure that many folks here who come from migrant families and migrant struggles can relate to. Right here in San Diego, one of our kababayan, one of our fellow Filipino community members, is left alone to support her 3 children, working paycheck to paycheck, all because her husband has been detained in an ICE detention center across the country for the past 3 years. Shame! Their children think he's just away on a work trip, except for the eldest son who saw with his own eyes his father being dragged away by state forces because of the wrongful accusations by his employer. This is just one story out of thousands. Denmark and Jovi are 2 CNAs who were detained this past fall after defending themselves during a patient's outburst. Lagaya Jensen has been detained for 6 years after already serving time for a crime she did not commit. Not only are our kababayan unjustly detained, they face cruel conditions and medical neglect in these detention centers, all with no help from the Philippine consulate whose job it is to provide Filipino migrants with support and assistance. Shame! When ex-Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte was arrested in March, the same person who committed countless human rights abuses, including his declaration of martial law in Mindanao and the killing of over 30,000 Filipinos in his war on drugs, he was given immediate support, assistance to national funds, and was flown in a private jet to his court hearing in the Netherlands. Why does a human rights abuser receive more aid than an immigrant worker trying to make ends meet? When Trump was reelected into presidency, the response from our own Philippine ambassador, Babe Romualdez, to the Filipino overseas workers was to self-deport. That was it. It was either face violent deportation by ICE or deport yourself. The people who get paid to protect overseas nationals and migrants do nothing to support people facing the cruelty of Trump's war on migrants. There is no real support from the Filipino government, the Philippine consulate, not even our own mayor, Todd Gloria, who is supposed to represent the needs of the people. In February, we saw Gloria spend over $8,000 of our taxpayer dollars on an unannounced trip to the Philippines to talk to the chief of staff of the fascist armed forces of the Philippines. This is the same chief of staff that is responsible for the coordination of extrajudicial killings, disappearances of environmental activists, and bombing the Philippine countryside. This trip was to strengthen the military ties between San Diego and the Philippines, where here in San Diego, it has become normal to hear military fighter jets fly over us or see warships parked at the naval base on 32nd Street. Just this past month, ships from San Diego were sent to the Philippines to participate in the Balikatan exercises, which are U.S.-Philippine joint exercises meant to reinforce the Philippines' role as a U.S. military collaborator by increasing training, intelligence, and capacity to respond to external threats to the U.S.'s interests in the Asia-Pacific. In reality, these war games are escalations and provocations of war between the U.S. and China. Fisherfolk who depend on fishing for their livelihood are banned from fishing to make room for these exercises, forcing them to find work elsewhere. Increased military presence has historically led to human rights violations, such as the killing of Jennifer Laude, a Filipina trans woman, by U.S. Marine Scott Pemberton, who to this day has received no justice. The Philippine government and the Marcos regime continue to allocate funding to these expensive war games while Filipinos back home and here continue to struggle to put food on the table, find stable jobs, get access to adequate health care, and have to fight just to get their family living wage. We recognize that the struggles that immigrants and overseas workers face here in the United States is not disconnected with the rising fascism and repression back home, or the genocide in Gaza, or with the rising war tensions in the Asia-Pacific. And that the root causes of these struggles are because of U.S. imperialism, and thus the economic system of the Philippines and other semi-colonies are kept intentionally backwards to serve the interests of the ruling class. The Filipino people are driven to seek work abroad only to be targeted by the same country that created the conditions for them to leave. To end forced migration in the Philippines and across the world is to address the economic issues that are worsened by the imperialist and capitalist crisis of society. We need the working class to come together and lead a worker-led society. I'm going to do a chant real quick in Tagalog. It roughly translates to the working class as the Army for Liberation, and I'm going to have you all repeat after me. Uring manggagawa, upang magpapalaya. Uring manggagawa, upang magpapalaya. Defend migrant workers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lonnie. And thank you so much to Anakbayan San Diego and also the Defend Migrants Network. Give it up! Up next, we have the African People's Socialist Party, also known as APSP, speaking on the right to organize.
Uhuru. Uhuru is a Swahili word. It means freedom. And in our organization, this is how we greet each other. This is how we say, when we say goodbye, we say Uhuru, because we understand that African people are still not free, and that this must be on our mind 24/7. So join with me in saying Uhuru. Uhuru. And we understand that because African people are not free, it means that you yourselves are not free from any type of oppression that you are faced with on this planet, on today. It is as a consequence of colonialism. And this is what our organization is about. And I want to reintroduce myself. My name is Mwezi Odom, and I have the honor of serving as the Secretary General for the African People's Socialist Party. And on today, I want to just salute and appreciate the Coalition for Communities of Self-Defense and join people around the world who are here today with working class communities to convene on the May 1st International Working Day. We have comrades out in, across the world right now who are recognizing this day. Uhuru! The African People's Socialist Party was founded in May 25th, 1972, and with the goal to complete the revolution of the 1960s. We understood that this was an anti-colonial liberation that was once defeated by U.S. counterinsurgency, with an attempt to assassinate, to imprison, to disrupt, and to disunite the Black liberation movement. They were successful in that, although our leader, Chairman Abolish, single-handedly made it his responsibility to help complete the revolution and founded the African People's Socialist Party. The demands and the right of African people, we say we have the right to advocate and to organize for the liberation and unification of African people everywhere as a globally dispersed people. I bring greetings from the Central Committee of the APSP because we understand, along with Imperialism, which is one of our mass organizations, and we unite with the demands of this mobilization, the importance of the right of the May Day to say that we abolish ICE, to say education, not deportation, and to defend the right to organize and to unionize. We understand that, again, as I said, the struggle that we all face is the struggle of colonialism. What is colonialism? It is a foreign and alien domination of a people with the purpose for economic exploitation and political advantage. We understand that whether you're fighting racism, fascism, classism, whatever it may be, it has its roots in colonialism. And this is what we must all be fighting towards. We do this, we march, and we make sure that we will fight until it's won. This May is the 100th anniversary of the birth of Malcolm X, who was not able, yes, salute to that comrade. He was not able to live his full life because he was assassinated in 1965 by a colonial government who could not contend with the upward struggle of colonized people that he led. We also know in this month we celebrate the birth of Ho Chi Minh and of Yuri Kochiyama. Uhuru. I am also the chair of the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa Defense Campaign. This was a campaign to defend the Uhuru 3, Chairman Amalia Shatella, and 2 white organizers who worked under the leadership of our organization. This was an attempt to scare white people and others in solidarity for joining the movement for Black liberation, the movement for indigenous liberation, the movement for calling out these oppressive wars that the U.S. engages in daily. The Uhuru 3 won their fight, and in this ashes of this defeat that they tried to crush our movement, we built the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back Coalition. This coalition, comrades, this is a non-sectarian, anti-colonial free speech coalition that makes the demand to defend the right to freedom of speech, the freedom to organize, and also embraces the struggles and for self-determination and liberation and the freedom of African, indigenous, and all oppressed and colonized people and voices around the world. The persecution of the Uhuru 3, just like the persecution of many of us here, were all thought crimes. Because we dared to speak out, and because we spoke out for exercising our so-called right fight for freedom of speech in this so-called democracy. And in the African People's Socialist Party, we say that the highest form of democracy for the colonized is what? It's self-determination. The ability to have control over how we feed ourselves, how we clothe ourselves, how we organize, how we see our future. Self-determination is democracy for the colonized and for the oppressed. So these attacks to silence our leadership and the African liberation movement, these attacks to silence what is happening in the Sahel, these attacks to silence what is happening right here as communities are defending themselves against the colonial domination, ICE and all these other predatory, state apparatus. We say down with colonialism, and we understand that the African and colonized workers, we are not simply oppressed by the point of our production, but at the point of the bayonet, through incessant violence. And we understand that this violence of the social system has a productive value to it. Through violent oppression, they extract our value, and it enriches itself. But what we say is that the way forward, comrades, is for us to organize in our collective interest. Whether we are from the colonizer or the colonized populations, we need to organize and overturn this colonial mode of production and create a society solely run by the colonized workers of the world in the interest of the colonized people. And we say abolish ICE, we say education, not deportation, we say defend the right to organize and to unionize, down with the colonial mode of production, workers of the world unite and organize. Uhuru.
Last but not least, please join me in welcoming fellow worker JB from Industrial Workers of the World, speaking on unions for all.
Fellow workers, good evening. Thank you for spending the evening with us and staying until the end. More and more bosses ratchet up the demands and whittle away at our pay. It's troubling, to say the least, that many need to work 2 or 3 jobs just to get by, putting off healthcare needs just to make sure their children are fed, or maybe they just don't have the time. We see workers dying on the job. As safety laws are relaxed, the work is sped up, and the consequences are minimized. It is not just the bosses that are attacking workers, but the state as well. The Trump regime sends its dog's ICE to black bag our neighbors, putting them in concentration camps, ripping apart families, and in turn, our community. But while the workplace oppresses us all, each and every one of you showed up in solidarity with your fellow worker. Pope Francis said, "There are no unions without workers, and no free workers without a union." Spoken like a true organizer. Organizing on the job can build protections that the law will not provide. Union siblings standing shoulder to shoulder in solidarity are those protections that the government will not provide. Organizing is our way of taking back power. We use this power to push back against the bosses. We use this power to make demands. We want our time back so that we may spend it with our families. We, the workers, would say when and how the work is done. We would no longer live to serve company profits as worms, but instead let us be birds and fly. A union is our collective strength to push back against their demands and a way out of constant work, carving back our time and pay, and that's why we demand unions for all workers. May Day is also a time to reflect on the workers no longer with us. We want to honor our martyrs who dared to organize or died just trying to get through a shift. Fellow worker Servando Salazar Cano, a union organizer who had the courage to try and organize at prime wheel within the maquiladora. In retaliation, his bosses murdered him. He was disappeared in the factory and his body never recovered. The police are still calling it an accident. We see another worker dead for the boss's greed. Fellow worker Leone Salcedo Chevalier up in New York was struck by a box truck and died on the job. Now, Amazon wants us to remember that neither he nor the driver are Amazon employees. They say it's not Amazon's responsibility. They just own the warehouses, the equipment, make the rules, set the demands, determine the hours, and keep pushing not their employees to work faster. We'll never forget. The IWW has a motto. We find it remains relevant today as it was in 1905. An injury to one is an injury to all. I say solidarity, you say forever. Solidarity, 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 solidaridad para siempre. Thank you.
Again, a lot of people put a lot of hard work and effort into this, and it couldn't have been done without the help of you showing up and also to all the organizations who contributed to today's event. So let's give yourselves a round of applause. I'd also like to thank all of the security that dedicated their time today, and more than anything, the Chicano Park Steering Committee. Thank you so much for liberating this space for us. So now we'll have the compañera I.C.E close us off with some very powerful words.
Dang, that's a lot of pressure. Yeah, I mean, it's been a beautiful day. I'm proud to say that there were many May Day actions happening, including at like the high schools and different, parts of the county today. So give it up for not just us, but just for the growing awareness of May Day as a very important date for us to celebrate all over San Diego and around the country and world. And hopefully one day we're all going to converge and we're going to have the biggest May Day ever here in San Diego, right? That's the goal. But I know we all, are needing our revolutionary, like sleepy Mimi's time now. So I'm just going to leave it off with saying that, don't let today be the last time that you think about the international workers movement until next year. We don't have time to sit around anymore and just talk to our friends who we already know agree with us. We don't have time to sit around and just talk to college-educated political science majors. We actually need to go out into our communities. We need to actually start building power amongst the working class here in San Diego and all around the world. And we need to be scientific about it. So that means set yourself a goal. I'm going to knock on 10 doors this week. Set yourself a goal. I'm going to call 10 of my friends and I'm going to invite them to a meeting, and we're going to go and we're going to start talking to our coworkers. Make a plan. Join an organization. Take the things that you've learned today beyond tonight. I want your dreams to fill all these speeches together and fill you with the revolutionary optimism that you need to live and fight, not just today, not just tomorrow, but for a full lifetime of revolutionary struggle. So I hope you all have a very good, lovely, revolutionary Revolutionary Sleepy Mimi's time. And special thanks to everyone who participated in a May Day action today, whether it was this one or anyone. Volunteers, okay.
Yeah, so if, we really appreciate it if some of y'all could help us out in cleaning up. We want to respect the space. I know Chicano Park is a very sacred space too, so if we could just, leave it.